Okay, what's up, caller? Go ahead, please. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Shaykhna. How are you?
May Allah bless you. Allah keep you well. Who is with me?
My name is Haidar. I'm calling from London.
Yes, Haider. How you doing?
Very good, thank you, Shaykhna. Shaykh,
Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless you.
I had one or two questions, if
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Yeah.
The first one was within, as in, this is sort of a misconception, you could say, or misinformation, not only amongst the Sunni, but also amongst our own Shia brethren. So
Mm-hmm.
they say after the burial of the Holy Prophet, after the demise, after Saqifa, um, why did the Muslims who were present at Ghadeer not stand up? I was wondering if you could touch upon how
Okay,
Abu
this is
Bakr.
this is very very clear. People always don't do the right thing. It's a
Yeah,
very how should I say, a very uh, foolish
I was
expectation.
wondering if in
Please
particular
allow
could
me.
you touch upon? Oh,
Please
sorry. Yeah,
allow me. It's a very foolish expectation to expect people always to do the right thing, or the majority of people do the right thing. There are many examples before us. People who killed Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They were from this ummah. They knew. Many of them were Sahaba. They had seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam profess love and express his affection, extreme affection, intense affection for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And the rest of them were all tabi'een, and they all knew that Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam is innocent and he is a man of impeccable character. And there was no dispute, no charge against Imam Hussein alayhi salam. There was no dispute that Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam has done some misdeed, therefore he deserves to be put to sword. If there was any confusion about Imam Hussein alayhi salam, there was no confusion about his children, about his young little baby. Yet we know by the thousands Muslims surrounded Imam Hussein alayhi salam's camp, and they massacred his
yeah,
children,
Alhamdulillah.
massacred his brothers, massacred his followers. They were very few, a small group, 70 people, and then they trampled his body. They're not just his body; they're all their bodies under the hoofs of the horses,
Oh, Alhamdulillah.
and they knew who Imam Hussein alayhi salam was. So it was not because they didn't know. Of course they knew, but pe- people who know facts, when their interest calls, or if they're pushed to a certain way by their leaders, people do wrong things. Or when Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, the Nabi Musa alayhi salam, he went to the mount. Bani Israel, he instructed Bani Israel to follow his brother Aaron. And as soon as he left, Bani Israel, who had seen these miracles, these great and splendid miracles, fantastic miracles from Musa alayhi salam, just as his stick turning, his walking stick turning into a serpent, and then drowning of Pharaoh, who was a superpower at the time. He had a mighty army, and Bani Israel, all of them had been turned into slaves. So Pharaoh would slaughter and behead small babies, young baby boys from Bani Israel. So Musa alayhi salam was that hero, that leader, that who had taken out his nation from under the yokes of slavery of Pharaoh, and had Pharaoh destroyed and drowned. And these were the same nation that for them, when they traveled in the desert, clouds would provide shade for them as an act of miracle, as an act of blessing. And roasted birds would come to them for their lunch and dinner. Roasted from heavens, Allah will these brought for them heavenly food. Yet these same people, as soon as Moses alayhi salam went to the mount, they decided David decided to worship a calf made of metal, a metallic calf, which didn't perform any supernatural miracles. Nothing. There was nothing extraordinary about it. They decided to do that. And the previous lecture, I told you that Bani Israel, they came to Moses alayhi salam and said to them, build for us an idol. So why people do wrong things? Why do people do wrong things? Right now, if you like a lot of scholars who belong to the other denomination, when they talk to me and I
Yeah.
explain to them, and everybody knows that they don't have any answer. They don't have any
Yeah.
answer, and they cannot
It's clear. It's very
respond. They
clear.
cannot, yeah, they cannot respond. And then the other scholars also be watching. Yet still, they know Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are haq. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wassalam are to be followed if one indeed wants to succeed in this life and the hereafter. Yet they do not do it. So the human being is a strange being. It does not always follow what is right. And a lot of times, rather majority of times, people follow what is in their interest, what they think in their interest, in their worldly short-term interest, rather what is right. So if after Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, after the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam passed away, why didn't people the majority didn't support Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam? Is this Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "You are to me as Aaron was to Moses." So when Moses went to the mount, Bani Israel abandoned Aaron and they followed Samirri. So the same happened. If one looks into his own life, into his own deeds, if we introspect, we realize when we do something wrong, why we do something wrong. If, for instance, if we don't pray, if we look at a woman with lust, if we tell a lie, or if we backbite, we know it's fire of hell. It's not that we don't know. We know for a fact that this causes us to be worthy of the wrath of the Lord. Yet we do it. And people do it all the time. Our sisters do it. Brothers do it. Old men do it. When we commit a sin, and we all commit sins, when we commit sins, so common sense would dictate that if we know it's so bad, and hell is such a terrible, terrible, horrible, horrible place, we should not do anything that would make us eligible for entering hell. Yet we do it all the time.
We do it all the time.
Yeah. So we human beings are not always following common sense. We don't always follow aql. We do very stupid things, very foolish things, and the conduct of Sahaba after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is no different than the conduct of any sinful society in the world. When they do not support the what is right, they do not support what is good, and they do not want to sacrifice. They do not want to stand up for the truth. So it happens. It has happened many times. It often happens in human society. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Sheikh, thank you for that beautiful explanation. I was hoping if you could also explain to us about Khalid ibn al-Walid's role in quashing down people who did not pay allegiance to Abu Bakr, and how he was sent.
Inshallah. There's a detail in that. So there were a lot of people who were Muslims. Who were Muslims,
Abu Bakr's caliphate.
Yeah, and they did not agree to Abu Bakr being their caliph. And they were Muslims. Yeah, they were Muslims, and they defied Abu Bakr's authority, and they said, why should we have to pay taxes, the zakat tax, to Abu Bakr? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the Nabi. Okay, we were his ummah. As long as he was alive, we would pay him the zakat tax. Now, who is Abu Bakr that we should pay zakat tax to? So Abu Bakr crushed these people, rather massacred these people, all these various tribes, which were in tens of thousands of people.
Amongst them, were there any who pledged allegiance to Imam Ali?
There was a few. There were very few. Malik ibn Nuwayra. These were individuals. These were not the masses. So the rest, they were not Shia, but they were just simple Muslims who had just converted into Islam in the last years of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they had not heard any instruction from the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Abu Bakr is my successor. So and Abu Bakr is now demanding money, is imposing taxes on them, and they've said, why? We are Muslims, but who made you our overlord, our ruler? So they were alleged by Abu Bakr to to be murtad, and as non-Muslims and non-believers, and their men were killed, and their women were raped and taken into bondage and servitude, and their children sold as slaves in the streets of Medina, and they were by the thousands. Yeah.
So
But,
wait,
but
they
that
were
requires,
classified
detail
murtad?
requires a speech, inshallah. Okay?
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
because
Thank you. May Allah bless you. Allah keep you well, Haidar.
thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Alaykum salam. Oh, sorry. No. Okay, I have here a caller.